Welcome back. So today I want to talk about angel numbers and how I experienced that on the twin flame journey. First of all, what angel numbers mean and how they can be misinterpreted on the twin flame journey in particular. So if you are not familiar with the twin flame journey, this video may not be interesting for you, but I can say that angel numbers are still a big thing in the spiritual community in general. If you're on a spiritual path, you've no doubt heard about angel numbers, which is basically repeating number patterns that you start to see in all sorts of different ways. Perhaps you might be walking down the street and you see a number plate on a car that has 555, or you go to the grocery shop and you pick up some items, and then you look at your receipt and you notice that it's you were just charged $7.77. Now, of course, with inflation the way things are, that's probably not likely. It's probably going to be a lot more than that. But you know what I mean. I'm just using that as an example. And I think that anyone who's been on a spiritual path or is on a spiritual path will be familiar with angel numbers, repeating number patterns. I remember seeing them both when I was in the twin flame cult, but then after the twin flame cult as well. And that's partly why I wanted to make this video, to kind of separate the two out, because in my experience, and I think I can say this for a lot of people who were on the twin flame path and maybe are still on it or coming out of it, there is a big association between seeing repeated numbers, angel numbers, and the twin flame journey itself, which is, as we know, it's a false ideology. It's not real. So I just really wanted to make that very strong distinction, because I was certainly confused when I was on my journey, because there is just so much noise made in the twin flame community about angel numbers, and particularly certain repeating numbers, certain number patterns. For example, 1111 is sort of seen as the quintessential twin flame number because it represents twin flame harmonious union. So the thinking was, or the teaching was, that if you start seeing 1111, then you're close to twin flame union, and that perhaps there is only a little bit more work to do, a few more hurdles to jump over before your twin will come back to you and you will reunite in blissful, harmonious union to save the planet with your unconditional love. Now, I hope you don't mind me saying eye roll. I mean, what a load of absolute bollocks that is. And the unfortunate thing is that when you're on the twin flame path and you're seeing angel numbers, especially when it coincides with your twin flame behaving really badly. And when I say twin flame, I mean quote unquote twin flame, because it's not a real thing, and it's more than likely that you are dealing with either a narcissist or a highly toxic individual. And so setting people up in this way, by saying, oh, if you see 1111, even if you see other repeated number patterns, it means that you're on the right path. It means that, perhaps harmonious union is just around the corner, which is, as I was saying before, very problematic, especially when you start seeing repeated number patterns at times when you're supposed twin flame is acting really poorly, is perhaps even being downright abusive, perhaps hiding from you, ghosting you, leaving you on red, all those kind of things. And then you start seeing angel numbers. And then the teaching in the twin flame community is, oh, well, that means you're on the right path. Keep going, keep following the path, keep pursuing this fictitious relationship, this union with this person who is your ultimate lover, who is your ultimate soulmate. Again, it's a load of bollocks. I would use stronger words, but I think YouTube might censor that, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's a very tricky scenario, I think. And it certainly happened to me. And that's why I stayed in that very insidious, damaging ideology for so long. I think I was in it for 5 years, holding on to this person who was behaving really nastily. And, thinking, oh, well, that's just a mirror image of what I need to heal. The good old mirror exercise that they teach in the twin flame community. But the issue was that even when I realized that the whole twin flame was a sham, that I had been in a cult and the whole thing came crashing down, and I realized that the person that I was dealing with was actually a narcissist, not a soulmate who was teaching me soul lessons through mirroring my wounds back to me. When I finally came to that place, and I spent, I think it was probably a month or so, just going to counseling, seeking support from cult professionals. I also watched a lot of YouTube content on narcissistic abuse and how to deprogram from narcissistic abuse. I did all the things. And that first month after getting out was so concentrated. And I thought that the angel numbers would stop, that I would stop seeing 1111, that I would stop seeing 5555 when I looked at the microwave, or, when I looked at the clock, I'd see 111, or, whatever it was. But it didn't stop. And this was when I, had well and truly deprogrammed myself. Yet I'm still seeing all of these number patterns. So then I started to really understand that the angel numbers were nothing to do with the twin flame journey, a fictitious journey that's fabricated by God knows who, and is basically a cultic ideology. That angel numbers are actually about awakening. It was reflecting my own awakening. And I realized that the times that I saw all of those repeated numbers and they really amped up, and I was seeing them pretty much every day, multiple times a day. And it coincided with times when my supposed twin flame was behaving very poorly. And, I was no angel either. I responded to that behavior in kind at times. And, it's obviously something that I wasn't proud of at the time. But in retrospect, I can see that my anger was justified, and I was actually encouraged by the twin flame community to not express that anger, because really I was just expressing anger at myself, apparently, because my twin was just mirroring my own shit. So anyway, you can see where I'm going with that. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is that I realized after I had deprogrammed that when I saw those numbers on steroids at those times, it was actually God, spirit, whatever you believe in, its way of trying to say to me, hey, this is not what you think it is. This person is dangerous. This person is not psychologically safe for you. And if you keep following this person, it's only going to end badly for you, and it's going to take you completely off your path. It's going to take you off your trajectory of what you're actually supposed to be doing. That's what they were trying to tell me. It was my spiritual support team, so to speak, standing up for me and saying, no, don't continue to pursue that very destructive relationship that's really not good for you in the name of a false ideology. Get away, step away from the trauma bond, step away from the toxic individual who was most likely a narcissist, who was playing mind games and keeping me on the hook and all of those things. And step into what you're really, really supposed to be doing, because you have so much to give. And so I now see angel numbers as a necessary guidance system. You know, it's powerful. They show up usually for me during times when I'm feeling perhaps a little bit helpless and things aren't going well and I'm feeling stuck in my life. And I'm starting to question whether I'm on the right track. That's when they start to show up to guide me and say, you know what, it sucks right now, but hey, you're still on the right path. It's okay, girl. You've got this. Just keep going, keep moving forward. And they also show up at times where I'm experiencing a lot of chaos and difficulties and challenges in my life. And I think it's for a similar purpose. It's to say, hey, it's okay. You'll get through this. This is still the right trajectory for you. This is still the right path. It's just rough right now. You know, it sucks right now, but this is just kind of the deal. This is what you signed up for. In order to actually get to where you need to go, you have to go through this right now. You know, whether that be a breakdown of a workplace situation or, you know, something to do with my stability and my home life, or family relationships not going well and breaking down, things like that. You know, that's actually when the logical human brain in our current society says, oh, everything's falling apart, it's crashing and burning, so I must be doing something wrong and I must be on the wrong path and I must be, you know, screwing it all up. And then the angel numbers come along and say, no, you're not. You're actually not. This is just part of the process. And, you know, this is part of what it means to be human on planet Earth going through this at this time. You have to kind of go through the mucky crap and get rid of all the stuff that isn't actually helping you in order to come out on the other side and keep rising. So obviously, as you know, if you've been on this path for a while, and I mean not the twin flame path, I mean the spiritual awakening path, then you'll know that it's not for the faint-hearted at times, depending on your individual situation. I mean, some people have extremely trying situations, traumatic circumstances that they have to overcome. You know, I guess at the end of the day, it's not a competition. That's not what I'm sort of trying to get at all. What I'm really trying to say is that I think that if you are following a spiritual path, then chances are it's hard. Chances are it's not easy, no matter what level of challenge, difficulties, trauma you're facing. because you're forging a path that's different from a lot of other people. And that's not to say in any way that people who are on the spiritual path are better. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's not about elitism. It's just about saying that this human world that we've constructed is tricky to navigate if you're doing something that is off the beaten path. If you are more of what they call a black sheep, which I don't think is a black sheep at all. I think that people who are labelled as such that don't fit in are actually cycle breakers. They're here to break generational curses, and that's incredibly powerful. So angel numbers are actually your friend. And if you're on a twin flame path, or you've come off a twin flame path and you're still seeing them and you're confused and you're thinking, well, I thought that was just part of that whole twin flame BS, do know that angel numbers are a pretty big phenomenon on the genuine ascension, spiritual awakening path, and they're there to guide you. It's your spiritual team in a cheerleading outfit going, yay, we got you. This is the way. We're going to guide you. Anyway, I think that's it for today. But I'll be back soon with another enthralling topic.